Hello.
Hello. Are we
We are
recording?
back. We are recording. I've got it on automatic.
Oh, smart.
Yeah. So I don't
Oh,
forget.
yeah. So fancy.
I know.
So nice Christmas jumper.
Thank you. And
Looking
yours.
good. I've got Christmas stormtroopers.
Yeah, I was going to say Darth Vader, which just shows what a horrendous Star Wars person I am. But yeah, you got it right. Mine's Christmas puddings.
Very
Nice
nice.
and traditional. Gearing
Yeah.
up for the season. I'm about to turn my out of office on, I think.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exciting
Mm.
and ready to just eat everything that I see and drink everything that I see and do not much more than that. Can't wait.
Yeah, just veg. I am just so looking forward to all the cheese. I love just there's cheese everywhere and you just you get offered cheese and stuff and yeah, it's like we were talking about Rat Girl dinner.
Rat girl dinner.
Yeah, I
We've not
think
talked about that on the pod though, have we? Rat
no, we
girl dinner.
haven't.
It's a thing that my sister introduced me to on TikTok. And it's basically just you open a bag of crisps like you would to share at the pub. And then you put like all the filthy food you can think of on it. So like anchovies and blue
Yeah,
cheese and olives. And you have it with a glass of wine or I don't know, a martini if you're that way inclined. And it's
yeah.
called Rat Girl Dinner because you just like nibble on it. And I think it's my most favorite concept that I've ever heard
Yeah.
of, ever. I've not had one yet, but now I'm going to make it a point to have a Rat Girl dinner this
Yeah.
Christmas.
I think it's always a good time. Whenever I'm on
Yeah.
my own, I try and have something like that.
Yeah. So I think that's where the conversation came from, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah,
husbands are out. What dirty food can we eat that they would not allow in the house?
yeah.
Mine is
Uh,
always anchovies, always.
I love anchovies. We haven't done anchovies together, have we?
Oh, maybe not.
No, I don't think we have, but I would devour anchovy anything.
Yeah, love them. Like anchovy pizza in Italy is one of just
Oh
the greatest
yeah.
things. And Luke goes, "You've got that, so I can't share."
I know, take
Like,
it so
don't because I want
personally.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Think, sorry, this is my menu choice.
Yep.
Calm down.
Exactly.
Oh, Cynthia, what are you reading at the moment?
Oh, so we've just been on Point Horror Book Club, haven't we?
We have.
A couple of weeks ago. And I noticed that Shelley is reading one this time that I've always wanted to read because I've heard so much about it. It's another R.L.
Oh,
Stein. It's
yeah.
Silent Night because Reva, the main character, is apparently just awful, like awful, horrendous, really awful, but to the point where she's become an icon.
Oh, okay.
So I am very excited. I've read the first chapter and it opens with somebody's put a needle in her lipstick.
Oh,
And I was like, I've done that.
yeah.
Yeah, I put a nail in
With
a
a
blusher
brush.
brush. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
In one of your
me and
books.
Bob in one of my books, yeah, not in real life. Um, me and Bob, hive mind.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. So,
Yeah. So I'm excited to read that, and I'm more excited to watch the chat and see everybody
yeah.
talk about Reaver. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Sounds
about
good.
you?
I've I don't have it with me because it was a library book, but I borrowed The Devouring Light from the library by Kat
Oh,
Ellis. And I've
yeah.
already read it once, but I wanted to read it again because I keep seeing it on Instagram and I just loved it so much and it's such great fun. And of course she was on when she came on when she was talking about research for that book, wasn't she?
Yeah, there's an episode where Cat Alice tells us all about leeches, and actually, that's one of the ones that is on YouTube because these are now on YouTube, and we did
Mm.
start putting them on, but it was back in the day when my internet took 4 hours to upload a video, and then
Yeah.
I just lost them all, and then we gave up. So it is one of the rare ones where we've got the video and the audio of it, so you can see our
Our
faces
faces.
as
Yeah.
Kat Ellis tells us all these facts about leeches, and like we're both quite tolerant and not
Mm.
particularly squeamish, but there are some brilliant like screenshots that I've taken of that video where we both just look
Yeah.
horrified.
I think if you say a sentence that's got the word leech and infestation in it,
Yeah.
then yeah, you're onto a winner really to get an ill out of anybody. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I've been reading at the moment. So and it's
Excellent.
available now. So
Yeah,
keep reading because it's really good.
it is really good. And it's not wintry, it's not Christmassy, but it's definitely got those kind of spooky,
Yeah, wintry, kind of isolated. Yeah,
yeah, those
because it's kind of
vibes.
gothic sort of, and I always think gothic is a bit Christmassy,
Yeah, I agree. Because
Yeah,
that's what I read last year. I read that Haunting season, with all the short stories, and that's very
yeah,
gothicy. And
yeah,
cat setting reminds me of that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah,
Excellent, cheerful seasonal reading,
yeah.
as usual.
Oh.
Have you watched anything good recently?
Um, we have been watching the most. I haven't got through it all yet, but I've been watching the most recent season of Only Murders.
Oh, me too,
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
yeah. So, and I just love it so much, and it's just got everything because it's the acting and the stories and the writing and the comedy. And you recommended Amy Poehler's podcast to me.
Oh, yeah, I did. Good
Good
hang.
Hang,
Yeah.
Good Hang, and I've been listening to that, and the one with Martin Short was just so funny.
I haven't listened to that one yet. I don't know what
Yeah,
order I'm listening in. I just
yeah,
listen, I pick one and
yeah. I don't think I do podcasts right because I can't get to listen from the beginning of a
oh, okay.
season. I want to start with episode one, but it always defaults to the most recent one. Anyway, that's just me being. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that.
Yeah, I actually it's one that I can dip in and out of because I watched the seasons, the new I watched the newest episodes and then it was one a week. So
Mm,
I kind of stopped and then
right.
realized I had a few to catch up on. So I'm in the middle
Yeah.
of catching up on those now.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, the acting is just so
Oh,
good.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, the guys are brilliant, aren't they?
Mm.
Yeah. Right. There is somebody knocking on our door.
Who
So
could it be?
would you like to introduce our guest?
I would. So it is my very great pleasure to welcome Andy Darcy Theo, who is the author of the best-selling TikTok sensation, The Light That Binds Us, the first epic YA romantasy book in the Descent into Darkness series. And I want to ask him questions about these titles of these books. So he's a British Greek Cypriot with an education and occupational background in clinical psychology and teaching. And when he's not teaching, learning, or reading, he's developing his compulsive character-driven fantasy series. He began writing at the age of 13. So we're going to talk to him about how he got into writing. So that's obviously where it started. And he's massive on BookTok and Bookstagram as well. So I think this is going to be a really interesting chat. So I'm looking forward to talking to him.
I feel like it's the one where teenage girls are going to suddenly realize that our
Yes.
podcast exists because they'll be
Yeah.
like, Andy.
I can ask him about my hopeless Instagram following situation I'm having with it's back at 998 now. I have
Oh no.
I know. I said to Cynthia, I really want to hit 1K before the end of the year, and I did it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, I'm at 997, and then I was over again, and then I was under. It's just
Oh my gosh. Go
such a
follow
roller
Georgia.
coaster. I
Yeah.
know,
Go
yeah.
follow
Please do.
Georgia.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. How are
Hi.
you?
Hi,
I'm
Andy.
good. I'm good. Hi, how are you both?
We're good.
Good.
We're very excited to have you on. Come and chat to us.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be on.
Fantastic. So we will just dive right in. We've done your intro. So all that you've got to do is talk about you, which I've learned writers really enjoy doing. Or is it
Yeah.
just me? I feel like we could talk about ourselves all day.
Yeah.
How are you here? How did you get to from being you to being you who is best-selling kind of TikTok famous author published with Simon and Schuster?
It was a really, really tumultuous journey. I started writing my series when I was 13, so a very, very long time ago, and I wrote the first. I love your skull cut, by the way.
Oh,
Sorry, side note, I
thank
just
you.
so cool. Um, so yeah, so I was writing, it was an English project at school, and it just said, write a one-page story that ends in a cliffhanger. And I, being the middle child of three brothers in a Greek family household, of course, had to do a bit more than that. So I ended up writing a significantly larger project that I just really wanted to write more about. I found it was a really great escape from the things that I was dealing with when I was younger. So I wrote the first book, and then I wrote the second one, and then I wrote the third one, and then I stopped for A levels, for university, and then COVID happened just when I graduated, and I was working two part-time jobs, one as a healthcare assistant in a psychiatric hospital, and one as a private clinical psychology assistant. So I was really, really engrossed
Wow.
in the clinical psych, so working with patients with schizophrenia, personality disorders, and because of the privilege that I had in terms of the additional time, I thought, well, why don't I go back and start writing? And I can't ever keep still. But I did a course. It was a HarperCollins course called Author Academy, and it's a fantastic course about helping authors from underrepresented ethnic backgrounds learn about the publishing industry. So I did a course with them, and they said a really good way to reassure publishers that you're worth signing is by having an online following, because it shows that those, or it implies that those followers will translate to readers. So I started building a TikTok
Oh.
account. Yeah, it was all very strategic. Yeah.
Mm.
I started building a TikTok following, started doing stupid videos about book boyfriends and book reviews and other randomness. And I was documenting my self-publishing journey because I tried querying and I got nowhere. So I thought, let me self-publish. I know enough. I've got enough of a following to hopefully earn a couple of pennies from it. And I paid for a developmental editor and I paid for a cover designer. And just before, like maybe about 2 months before I was going to publish in the summer, I got an email from the editorial director at Simon& Schuster saying, we want to read your book. It sounds good. They
Oh.
read it within a week. Oh my God, it was just mental. That same week, I become the sole head of department teacher in my school, despite not having had my graduation yet, because I was doing maternity cover. So it was just
Oh my God.
like it all came at a really intense time,
Yeah.
but I was just honored beyond belief. So yeah, they offered me a two-book deal. I was like, absolutely, take my first kidney. Gave it to them, worked with them. Both books did all right. Just signed a second book deal with them, and I'm on copy edits today. My copy edits are due about 3 hours ago.
Oh,
But
you don't
but
tell
I've got
anyone.
yeah, I'll get it back to them by the end of the working day, hopefully.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh gosh,
Do,
because you're
do,
about to head off on an epic adventure, I believe.
Yeah, I'm about to go traveling for about 3.5 months. Literally a week today, we fly to Thailand. So
Amazing.
wow.
I'll be writing book four across Southeast Asia and getting that ready for April's deadline for that.
Mm.
Amazing.
And do you mind if I ask how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 26 now. So I got
Okay.
my book deal when I was 23.
Mm.
Is that correct?
It all
We
becomes a
don't know.
blur, doesn't it? You're like,
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I, it's just interesting because I think you're the youngest on our podcast. Just
really.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I think
yeah, I
so.
think so.
Not, but I just think it's really interesting because we have people on. We've spoken to lots of people and been talking about their writing journey, and I think it's different. It's so different to hear from
Mm.
someone who is younger and someone who's like coming into it, embracing the social media and that side of it. And like you said, it's sort of like strategic and thinking, well, if I can do this, then I can do this, and then that might happen. Whereas like
Mm.
someone like me, I was just telling Cynthia and all the listeners that I'm rubbish on Instagram, but I was really excited because I thought I'm going to hit 1K before the end of the year. Like this was my little goal that I had for myself.
Yeah.
And I did it and I was like, yes. And then a couple of days later, I was like, oh, I'm at 998 now. And then I
Yeah, it
went back up
happened.
and now I'm back down. And I'm just like, but so for someone like me, and I mean, Cynthia's better than I am, it's like that side of it is so much hard work, and it's not something that we were doing like at the beginning of our careers and not really part of it. So I think it's
Mm.
really interesting to hear about.
Yeah, I've noticed that trend as well over the
Yeah,
last 5 years. There is a real shift onto content creators having book deals,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I think it's quite controversial because a lot of people like to think that the book should stand on the talent of the book, the quality of the writing on its own. But the benefit of having someone with a platform is that they can still have a high quality book, but with a kind of almost not
yeah,
almost a guarantee that there's going to be
Yeah.
some readers
yeah.
out there.
I
Um,
think,
but
It's
yeah,
it's like the middle ground between an unknown author with no social media platform and a
Yeah.
celebrity author,
Mm.
Yes.
isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
perfect middle ground. You've got someone who has written the book, not
Yeah.
saying that all celebrities don't write the books,
Mhm.
but we know some use ghostwriters. So it's that happy middle ground, isn't it? Someone's writing the book, but you've also built up this presence because it's not easy to do.
No,
Like
not
I
at all.
know
Even if,
some videos take on a life of their own and do what they can, but generally building a following online is it's hard
oh
work.
yeah, I've been stagnant for months and months. I feel like no matter what I try and do, it sometimes just doesn't reward me for the amount of time and effort I put into the content
Yeah.
creation. And I
Mm.
think that's something that I've actually really thought about this year. So as of September, I've left teaching. I was lucky to be granted a sabbatical for a year. So I'm just full-time writer slash content creator
Oh,
now.
that's really cool. That's
Which
so
is really good.
supportive,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
I know.
is
I'm
supportive.
so lucky. I'm genuinely so lucky. I popped into the school last week just to see them, and I'm like, oh, they just love them to pieces. And I just know that I wouldn't have been able to
Mm.
balance these two careers simultaneously. But
Yeah.
it's made me realize that the passion for me is not in content creation, it's really in writing. And
Mm.
content creation is kind of like the vehicle that helps me to get my books out there. I
Yeah.
never started wanting to be a content creator turned author. I started wanting to be an author
Mm.
that is kind of having to utilize content creation to get sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, which is quite, it feels not superficial, but it does feel quite tiring to constantly chase views and numbers and followers.
Yeah.
When I want people to follow me because they like the book, as opposed to they see me,
Yeah.
then they buy the book, then they follow me. But
Mm.
I'm grateful regardless.
It's so interesting to hear your side of it because I've definitely been told it doesn't matter if you have
Mhm.
an online presence. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're on TikTok. Then obviously it's seen as a plus if you are.
I
Um,
think it depends on the publishers as well, doesn't it? Sometimes the
maybe,
publishers have a larger emphasis on you doing the marketing share, and some
yeah.
publishers are more confident in dealing with it themselves almost.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think as well, sometimes publishers don't always understand that you can put loads of work in and still not get much out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they've seen other people who've done ridiculously well or who have got a massive following. Um, Rosie Talbot was in the very same situation that
Yeah.
you were in, where she was about to self-publish, because I had mentored her in Write Mentor, and no agent signed her book, and it was fantastic. And then I introduced her to my editor
Mhm.
at Yelp, and they just had a chat. And then next thing, Rosie had a book deal, and
Yeah.
the right person just read it. But Rosie was mega on social media.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
had this great following. So it was definitely beneficial and
Yeah.
definitely, I think, translated into those sales.
Yeah,
Mm.
and that doesn't take away from the quality of her actual book. Like,
No, not at
it is,
all.
No,
yeah,
she's
no,
a
I
gorgeous
agree.
writer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's doing so successfully now as well. And it was the same editor that acquired her, that acquired me
Was
without the
it?
agent.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we've already
You know
talked
who
about,
that is?
yeah,
Yeah.
because she was my editor. She acquired
Yeah.
me. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
yeah,
she got an eye for talent.
this is it. And,
Quite clearly has. She
I've
really has.
said previously, doesn't mess around. She sees it, she wants it. And it's one of the people in publishing that I know who doesn't go, oh, well, maybe I'll read it in 6 months and get back to you then.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Andy, when you got that call, like when you were ready to go self-pub, is that because did you not have an agent at that
I didn't
point?
know. I tried querying as a hopeful yet naive 14-year-old. And I was like,
Ah,
That's
why
amazing
is
though.
no
Like
one
that
it is
signing
just
me?
shows
amazing.
such
Uh,
drive.
Honestly, George, I've got a spreadsheet that's maybe
Oh, I love a spreadsheet.
100 to 150 of agents imprint, like literally just everything was on this list. And I
Wow.
tried, and it was obviously unsuccessful because the quality of writing wasn't good enough. And
Mm.
then I went back and I started requerying, and I'm not sure what it was, but it just wasn't resonating with agents. I got a couple of partial requests, but it just wasn't kind of picking up anywhere.
Mm.
And I was like, I'm going to do this, just do this continuing laboring away when maybe it's not to the standard of traditional publishing. But then I looked at the very viable self-publishing, and I thought
Yeah.
that's something that I could do, and I'll have more autonomy. And I didn't think of it as a backup option. I thought of it as an alternative option that was going to be rewarding in a different way.
Yeah.
And then once my first book was published, I realized how essential it is to have an agent just to protect you, to
Mm.
ensure that you're not being exploited or taken advantage of, just to keep you in the know and to just navigate that relationship. So I queried a
Yeah.
few agents then, got some really good feedback, and a few agents wanted me to sign, some fantastic agents of my friends, of my friends who were authors, and then eventually I signed with my current agent, and we're looking forward to seeing what happens beyond this series as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll ask you a little bit about that later, about what might be coming in the future.
Mhm.
So, your books are all fantasy, magical based,
Mhm.
a lot about the elements.
Yeah.
So, how, where did it come from? Is there anything that you dived into research wise that you were like, right, I need to know about this
Mhm.
in order to create this world?
So I was young when I first came up with the idea, but actually I think it was a daydream. So again, I tried very hard at school, but having dyslexia and I had a bit of a difficult time. I just daydreamed to keep myself kind of afloat. And I just remember having this really vivid dream of this girl falling off of the edge of a waterfall and this boy jumping off to save her and to confess his kind of unrequited love. And I remember thinking like that would be a really cool, like climactic scene of a novel, and let's try to build a world around it. And then I thought, well, I want to make an accessible magic system that would appeal to young adult readers because I obviously was like, oh, I want this to be a film do, and then I'm going to play the main actor and all of
Yeah.
that,
Of
Oh,
course.
we've all been there.
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Isn't
Especially
that
as
what
like
we're
a
all doing all the time?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, literally. And I was really inspired by the 2010s dystopian YA fantasy greats.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
Shadowhunters, Maze Runner, Hunger Games, all of these things, and I really loved Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
And they
Oh,
just
we've just started. Oh my gosh, we love
brilliant.
that.
Yeah,
Which I'm watching that like right at the moment, and I
yeah.
can't believe how good it is.
Yeah, the storytelling is so good.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so funny.
yeah, yeah. It's probably one of the best out there. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and me and my brothers were raised watching these massive fantasy films like Narnia and the Harry Potters and Marvel and Transformers and all those kind of things.
Mm.
And I just thought that magic system of elemental power is I thought it was quite intrinsically interesting. I thought that everyone surely is interested in those powers, and it kind of was like, oh, we can kind of do like X-Men powers, but let's have these four characters be these four with each element. And then I looked at the star signs to try and help come up with personality traits for each of those different characters. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, cool. So I want the earth sign to be very grounded, very down to earth, very nurturing, but roses have thorns as well. Like they shouldn't believe to be they can be stepped over. And then I was looking at like the fire signs, so I was looking at like Aries and Leo and Sagittarius and thinking bold, fiery, beautiful, attention grabbing, but also I kind of want, and I did this at quite a young age. I wanted to subvert some of the expectations about the different um, elements. So I didn't just want fire to be this flashy element. I wanted it also to have depth to him. So I was like, okay, let's have a sense of vulnerability there, like a flame, and the need that it has for oxygen in order to burn, which is obviously another character, the character of air. So I was kind of building on these and then just kind of fleshing it out. I loved fancy quests, so like in Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. So I was kind of writing a story around that, and then the series just kind of took a mind of its own. The first two books which are already out there, like The Blinders and The Dark Behind Us. They weren't called those at the time, but that was initially one big book, like one massive 250,000 word book.
Wow.
And then I was like, no one is going to publish this. So I split it up into two books.
But
So I
that
was,
just shows how much classic fantasy you must have read because all
Yeah.
of those
yeah,
books are that big.
yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
thought I'm not reputable enough to be able to sell that and to warrant
Yeah.
the ink and the page count, I think.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, those are like my biggest inspirations growing up, and I really loved the Mortal Instruments series, Infernal Devices, anything
Yeah.
by Sandra Clare, and I felt like that kind of gave me permission to write a contemporary urban fantasy story without going to another world, and still have romance as a subplot as well,
Mm.
which I
Yeah.
just really liked.
I
So,
love, sorry.
no, I was just going to say, so when you were like a young lad and you were reading and you must have been, it must have been around the time of all those like titles that you've talked about, like Maze Runner and like what
Yeah,
time to be a young reader?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I know we were lucky. We didn't even know how good we had it. So all of
no.
these like massive book to screen adaptations, and I thought, well, it allows a new audience who's not necessarily going to read the book to also gain access to this incredible story with these memorable characters. Like I still think about these, but like I don't know if you've ever read the Skullduggery Pleasant books.
Yeah.
They were by Derek
Yeah.
Landy. I love them, and they helped as well. Like, okay, I can write an elemental magic system. But yeah,
Mm.
I was very fortunate. I had inspiration from the films I was watching, TV shows, and also the books.
Oh, that's so cool.
Mm.
Mm.
Cynthia, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, I love the term urban fantasy, and it's something that was like thrown around back in the 2010s,
Mm.
but not much was really classed as urban fantasy. It always had a little different umbrella term. And now I feel like it's making a comeback,
I
yet
hope
it's
so.
still not called urban fantasy.
No,
It's
it's. I feel
just,
like it's almost like they're afraid to call it that,
it
or
is,
even like contemporary fantasy because it's not always
yeah,
set in an urban city. But my book is set in our world because I wanted to show the beauty of our world and that you don't need to go to another dimensional world to see the magic of it.
yeah.
That, and I thought it'd be easier to write.
The first book I ever wrote, which like, the first thing I ever did that kind of died on
Mhm,
submission and lived on Wattpad for a bit, never to
mhm,
be seen again. Um, that was an urban fantasy because I really wanted to include a city that I loved,
mhm.
but also the thought of like the cracks appearing and all of these different worlds bleeding through
Yeah,
is more scary. And,
yeah.
you know, yeah,
I
it's better
think
than a fantasy world sometimes because
yeah
Mm.
you're
because
like
it feels
based.
accessible.
It
Yeah, and I
does,
really
it
liked it
does.
with
Yeah,
I know it's got to be pleasant and with the Harry Potters as well when I was younger. Obviously I was read those were read to me by my parents and I was like, okay, again I know those sites or I can see those
yeah,
iconic landscapes that again help it feel like pertinent to me.
yeah.
Mm.
But you can
So I really like
imagine
that.
if things were
So it's
slightly
even,
different, or
yeah, it's even more
Yeah.
magic that way, isn't it?
I
Yeah,
think
yeah, because they
so.
kind
Because
of
it is
like they like
accessible.
live amongst us. Yeah, there's a really good book by Amy Jordan called All the Hidden Monsters.
Mm.
I think it's published by
Yeah,
Chicken House, and she's done it's Manchester with this the downside underneath it. Yeah, and it's really cool because she mentions like landmarks in Manchester, and my girlfriend's from there, so I know these places now because I've been there for the last 6+ years.
Mm.
Um, so yes, I really like it. It makes me feel like the world is bigger than what I see of it.
yeah, definitely. There's a whole tunnel system in Manchester as well that
Yeah,
has only kind of been opened for the last 10 or so years. And I think that's where some of
yeah,
Amy's book is set, isn't it?
yeah,
Which is really
exactly.
cool. Yeah.
Hmm.
Can I ask you about the titles of your book? Because when I was like looking at them, I was like, these are such great titles. And there's three titles altogether, isn't there? And
So far, yeah.
so you said that that's not what they were called originally. How did you come up with them? Because like it's like they were made to go together. It like the light that binds us, blinds us, the dark that hides us, the shadow that finds us.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like a spell.
It
Yeah.
does.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
really
I
cool.
yeah, I'm really glad you asked me this question because I feel like I never get to explain it because it's
Oh.
the title, it's always been there. Um so originally they were very kind of generic. It was just called like even on my documents, the folder in which all my books are found is still called the Elementals series because it was just the Elementals. And then
Yeah.
it was like the Elementals book one, Prophecy of Light and Darkness, book two, Day of Darkness, book three, The Darkness Inside, book four, Fate of Something. And they were fine and they were all right, but they were so generic. And they then started being utilized by Marvel with like the elemental characters in Spider-Man. And there was other self-published books that had that title. So I thought I want to do something a little bit different. And I don't know why I chose complicated titles because it is harder to remember because it's not kind of three words that snap your rolls of the tongue. But I looked at the contents of the book and I really like it when in a film, TV show, or book, when they reference the title. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so I looked at the book and I thought, what kind of summarizes the themes of the story? And there's a quote by Mortem, the villain, who with the power of shadows, and he says something like, let's overcome let's step out of the light that blinds us, so let's overcome it. And I thought there's a really good indication as to what Alexis, the main character, is going through because he has this affinity for the shadows and the powers of water. So it's that whole kind of like debate that he's dealing with in this first book. Should he stay comforted in the shadows where he's always been raised, or should he step out into the light even if it is blinding him? So I like that one for the first one, the light that blinds. But the second one, it wasn't actually the original name, the dark that hides us. That was chosen by my editors. Um, the one it was going to be. who's going to be the demon that tries us. Because in the book, there are these demon characters during this massive epic battle sequence that I thought reflected both the external opponent, but also the internal conflict of these main characters, these internal demons that they're dealing with, especially in light of what happened in book one. So I really like that one. But then my publishers just said, I think we should go with something different. So I made sure that that quote is still in the book because all of
Mm.
the titles are in the book. So I made sure a really important character says it in quite a pivotal, like female empowerment moment. But we changed it to we were saying on the darkness that hides because that ties nicely with the light. But then we thought darkness is too long. It's the dark that hides us. And again, ties in nicely. Stay hidden in the dark rather than going out in the light that blinds us. And then with book three, did we always have it as this? I think we did always have it as this. Yeah, the shadow that finds us. Because I this book was the one that was going to be called The Darkness Inside,
Mm.
because spoiler, but the characters have been imprinted with this strain of darkness that they're unaware of, and it's slowly pulling them apart. Um, and I just thought it's nice. And also the books focus on Alex's hallucinations of the Shadow Man, which is this hallucinatory figure that used to traumatize him when he was young, and it makes a return in book three. So I thought that sounds good. The shadows finding them, and coming back to them. And then book four, we cannot share yet.
Oh,
But book
exciting though.
four, again, I think is really
Mm.
nice to kind of tie the whole book together.
Yeah.
Um, and there's another quote that I wanted to be the title of book. I think I wanted the title of book three to be or four to be the angel that guides us because there's a major character death, and I thought that tied in really nicely with the themes. But my publisher said it sounds a bit too religious, a bit too like angelic. So
Yeah.
let's keep it grounded in
It's a bit Christian. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And they're like, there's that's not relevant in your book. So yeah, that's how I came up
Yeah.
with the title. It's just quotes from
Yeah.
important characters and important scenes.
That's cool. I do love knowing how people land because it's so rare that a working title ends up being the
Mm.
title, isn't
I
it?
didn't realize that. I thought like, oh, if that's the title,
Me
then
neither.
publishers just have to suck it up. But they're
Yeah.
like, no, we don't want that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? My first ever book was called Creeper because it
Mm.
was creepy and it was
Yeah.
about a guy who skulked around London. And I pitched it as a horror. And then when it got taken on, they were saying, oh, well, it's a thriller. And I was like,
Mm.
is it? Oh, okay. Sounds good. And they were like, so we want a title more in line with popular thrillers at the minute, like One of Us is Lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they wanted that beat and that like familiarity. So it became Last One to Die,
Yeah.
which still suits the book,
Yeah.
but it just isn't. And because Creeper was too horror at the time.
But we've always got like an affinity to the original titles, I think.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Definitely. But Pros and Cons, Georgie, your next one. That
Yeah.
you
It's
named
always
that, didn't you? Well done.
I
Yeah.
did know.
Congrats.
I have to give my sister-in-law some credit as well because I was like, I know this is so Andy, my next book is out in June and it's called Foes and Cons.
Love
So
it.
it's set at a convention and
Clever.
the main character when she arrives, it's her favorite weekend of like the whole year. It's for her favorite vampire TV show. And when
Mm.
she arrives, Charlie Chamberlain is there.
Okay. Okay.
So, and she's not happy to see him
Right.
because he's her nemesis, or is he?
Yeah.
So,
Uh-huh.
and I was
Frenemy.
saying,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was saying to my sister, I was like, I'm sure there's something like something,
Yeah.
and it was like we were playing a game, like, and then she went,
I
Foes and
love it.
Cons. I
Yeah.
was like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it because I love titles that tell a story of themselves or like of their
Yeah,
own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without giving anything away. Like
Mhm.
yeah.
says what it is and then
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and
yeah.
Mark of the Wicked behind you, Cynthia, which is my first book, that had a different name as well.
Yeah, but
It
it's up on a
started.
high shelf. The French version
Yes,
kept it, didn't they?
they did. So it was originally called Dark Tilly, and the main character is called Matilda.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so they changed the name to Mark of the Wicked. But yeah, in France, it's called Sombre Tilly.
That was
So
good
I
accent.
really like I really like both titles. I think
yeah,
Dark Tilly sounds very, very cool, but also Mark the Wicked sounds good as well.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's almost like the publishers know what they did, what
I
they're
know.
doing.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, again, me being a naive young 20-year-old, I was like, wait, no, that's not right. I've read a couple of
That's
books in my
it.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, no, my baby, I can't change the
Yeah.
name. Like
Yeah.
that's what it is. So yeah, no, that's really interesting.
Hmm.
Um,
I've just been sat here thinking about all of those planning documents and things that you've had since you were like 14. And I'm trying to think of what I was doing when I was 14. And it just definitely wasn't
Oh no,
anything as impressive as that. No, no.
really?
So
I didn't
can
figure out authors were real people till I was 28. So,
I I hope you don't mind me asking you all of this. I just feel really hopeful that there are just so many fantastic male authors writing like for not just for boys, but like just in general, because I
Yeah,
know that there's this big concern about the reading gap between boys and girls. And obviously coming from a
yeah.
teaching background and stuff like that, it's the National Year of Reading next year as well.
yeah.
So there's all this focus on reading. So when you were 14 years old and you were writing these stories and you were contacting agents, were your parents like behind you on all of this? And, were they like feeding your reading habit and taking you to the library?
I think honestly, so I think both of my parents to a degree are readers. My mum probably more so than my dad, but
Mm.
because they were so busy, it was very much my own passion project, and they kind of just let me crack on with it. I don't know if they particularly thought it would go anywhere or if
Mm.
they just thought it was just a healthy way of self-expression, but I was very much self-directed and self-motivated. Um, they obviously are proudly on words now and they'll sell it to anyone that walks into my dad's restaurant or anyone that my mum bumps into
Uh,
in the street. Like they'll always talk about it. But I remember being young, just thinking, I didn't really want to tell any of my friends about it because my friends were mostly boys and they'd probably just think you're a loser, get on Xbox with me. So I didn't kind of
You
kept
can
it
do
quite.
both.
I did both. I did do
Yeah,
both.
exactly.
But I was, yeah, both my brothers were not into reading at all. But I remember thinking like I feel like, boys had books that were not necessarily just targeted at them, but books that they would want to pick up, like Percy Jackson. And then
Mm.
after that, it just stopped. And I felt like there was this
mhm.
gap between Percy Jackson, middle grade, then you got into the adult fantasies
Mm.
that are directed at readers, male readers primarily. And I was just like, well, what about young adult? And I read so much young adult, and my favorite authors are women. All my favorite books are with women as the main characters. So that never really bothered me. But I just thought it would be nice to have a book where at least two out of the four main characters are men, and that it's told from a male perspective because then maybe other people could understand it and learn. I learned so much about other experiences beyond my own because I read it from their eyes, and I thought that might be nice to do
Yeah.
as well. And I just wanted to bridge the gap. I when I go into schools, it, I love it when any young person comes up to me and says, "Oh, I liked your book," or "Oh, I'm really wanting to read it now." But when a young boy says it, I'm like, "Oh, okay, good,"
Yeah.
because reading teaches us so much: empathy, theory of mind, perspective
Mm.
taking, like all of these incredible talents that men probably need more than women, and they don't because they read less. Maybe that's one of the reasons. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
hope that it can reach those audiences.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. You are right as well. There is a gap in YA for kind of male led. I think it is getting maybe slightly better,
Mhm,
Mm.
but yeah, I'm struggling to think of anyone apart from you, Benjamin Dean,
mhm.
Simon James Green. Like
Yeah,
our social circles within writing are very much female.
Yeah.
yeah. All my author friends are mainly women,
Yeah.
which is what I've always been used to. So it doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, I'm hoping that it shows that also like young boys that want to write can also become authors. It's not a club that they're not invited to,
Yeah. And
kind
Yeah.
of
like
thing.
you
I know.
are a normal human being, you don't have to
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
this
I
guy
go.
in a
I
tweed suit and glasses and a massive geek
exactly.
to be
I don't need to be
an
yeah like a
author.
60-year-old white man. Like I can be young
Yeah.
and hopefully relatable to different backgrounds and also to younger
Mm.
boys. But I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
No, it's really nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
Because I work in a lot, I'm a librarian, so
Mhm.
we see what's on the shelves and what's going out and what people are coming in and asking for. And it is difficult when someone comes in and they're like, I want to get something for my son, and he's like 12 and he's read all, like you say, he's read all the Percy Jacksons and all of that. But
Yeah.
like I said, there are quite a few sort of classic,
Mhm.
she says, 10 years ago, 15 years ago,
Mm.
that you can turn to. But it is really good to see, to see more, to see
Yeah.
more choice.
Yeah.
So
I hope so. I hope that it shows that anyone can write and anyone can read and they don't need to
yeah,
be a certain
yeah,
person. Um,
Yeah, that's it. If you have it in you, you've got it in you. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm northern working class and never met a writer in my life. And then
yeah,
once I got the idea, I was like, obviously I'm going to have a go at this thing,
yeah. I was
So,
like, wait, this industry exists? I thought books just appeared on the shelves.
so did
Like
I. But
I knew that they'd been written, but I was
Andy,
like,
until I was 28, though,
okay, all right, that's that. Okay,
I am quite intelligent, I promise, but it just
didn't
absolutely never
click.
occurred to me. No.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
So can you share a bit about your research that
yeah.
you were going to talk to us about?
Yeah, so the main areas that I wanted to share was the research that went into the characters' names
Mm.
because the characters' names all have certain meaning, and I'm very much someone who likes looking at the etymology of words and language as well, being someone raised in a dual language household. Um, and yeah, so I made the chapter titles. Each of them's got a different title and a different word that comes from another language, and I explain that, and that kind of gives a little insight into what happens in that chapter. But the characters' names, I looked to again what the references to the elements, but also to the compass points. So each of the four elements has different compass directions. So north is earth, south is fire, east is air, and west is water. So when I was coming up with these characters, I wanted each character to be diverse and represent the whole scope of the world. So I made them from those different locations. So Demi's character is northern, so it's more tied into Europe, so kind of Greek background similar to mine. Blaze's character is African descent. Kaylee's is Eastern descent, so Chinese, and Alexis is ambiguous because he's adopted, but Latino origin. So I was coming up with the names and I was thinking, well, what would the names be then? Because I always knew that the main character would be called Alexis, which conveniently means defender of man, which I thought was nice. And also, it doesn't necessarily need to tie into the water element because again, he's been adopted, so he's been given a new name. Does it need to be water based?
Mm.
Jamie's character, I think, was one that I landed on quite early because Demetria is linked to the Greek god Demeter, which is the goddess of harvest, and kind of like the spring season. So I thought Demi's character, tick, that's done. With Blaze's character, burning blaze like fire, I thought that was easy enough.
yeah.
And then with Kaylee's character, that
And
was
what
probably
a
one.
cool name.
Yeah, I thought this was
Yeah.
quite a hot name. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then with Kaylee's character, that was probably the one that I struggled with the most because I wanted it to make sense because again, she was a character that was from from a Chinese descent, but I never initially wrote her to be from there. So I was kind of looking at that, and in the third book, I actually explained what her birth name was and how that ties to her culture. But her name Kaylee means from, I think it's Welsh, meaning from the heavens, which I thought was nice, kind of derivative of
Yeah.
sky. Incanters, which is the main mentor, to enchant,
Mm.
is magic. Mortem is Latin for death, which I thought nice, darkness, death. Um, Valentina, one of the characters of the Power Porters, is named after my late cousin, who was just one of the best people I knew. And I
Oh,
thought, let's have her be called that. He was
yeah.
Valentino, she's Valentina. Um, and Zio, another side character who gets progressively more important as the series goes on. I think Zio is Indian and it means light or like kind of like linked to light. And her surname Parashakti is tied to Shakti, to one of the Hindu gods. So yeah, I just did a lot of research into what the names mean
Mm.
and where they come from, in terms of like ethnicity as well, and link it to the characters to make sure they felt diverse and that all readers from wherever they were can relate to them. And then another piece of research that I did was for the quest in book one. So in book one, they go on this global quest around the world to find the elemental equivalent of the Infinity Stones from the Avengers. So they're going to go to these different locations. And again, I was researching where these locations should be and tying it into the different compass directions. So they go, and I'm gradually visiting all of these different sites as I'm getting older. And we went to Greece, which is obviously where Demi's character's from. And there's a part of Greece called Delphi, which was described by Zeus to be the center of the world. It's where he kind of threw two eagles. They went wrapped around the whole world and they met in Delphi, and that's it was meant to be the site of the oracle, which ties into the prophecy, the prophetic nature of the book. And there was meant to be a dragon there that needed to be slain. And with the books, with this first book, each of these stones are defended by a creature of that element. So I thought, nice, I've got the creature sorted. I've got the oracle kind of there that's going to give them a prophecy each, and I've got it set in Greece, which is where the character's from. With the air gem, which they go to second, originally it was going to be in Rio de Janeiro. I thought, imagine having a battle sequence on like the
Yeah.
favela. I thought that would be so cool. I watched Fast and Furious 5 that. to the fight scene. So I just thought like a dragon there would be so cool. But then I was like, no, it needs to be east. It needs to be linked to China. And have you guys seen the film Avatar with the blue people,
Hmm.
like the blue aliens?
Yeah.
Or
No.
do you know what it is at least?
Yes, I do because I'm not a fan. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a really like a it's like obviously very, very fantasy, but they
yeah,
base I think world Pandora, which is this world of like floating rocks on this real mountain forest in China,
yeah,
and it's called Zhangjiajie Forest. And I just thought like it's called just the Sea of Floating Mountains, and I thought how cool would it be to be on mountains that are so high up that they're kind of covered by the cloud line, have a dragon there. So I was like, yeah, that's sorted.
yeah.
With the fire gem, I knew it was going to be somewhere volcano. I originally had it as Mount Vesuvius because that was again where I'd gone to when I was younger. But I was like, no, it needs to be in Africa. So I looked at the tallest freestanding volcano, which is Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. And I thought, well, they have to go into the volcano to get the fire gem, and it erupts. And obviously, there's a lot of bad stuff that goes on. And then with the water gem, I knew it was going to be a waterfall base because that was where the scene that I originally first thought of was going to take place.
Oh,
And
so we're
originally, I
coming
did
right back to that very first.
all the way back to that, yeah. And
Oh,
I think originally I had my first. It was the tallest waterfall, which is in Venezuela. I think it's called Angel Falls, which I love the name. But then I
yeah.
changed it to the largest waterfall system in the world. And I think they used that as the set for a fight scene in Black Panther, the Marvel film. And it's
Mm.
called Iguazu Falls. And I actually went there
I've
over
been
New
there.
Year's. It's incredible, isn't it?
It's amazing. I've been under it and I've seen
Oh,
it from both sides.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Where is
Uh,
from
it?
Brazil and Argentina. It's on the border of Brazil, Argentina, and I think Paraguay, but you can mainly
yeah.
see it from Brazil and Argentina depending on which view you want to get. And it's
Oh,
just
And they argue about who
breathtaking.
has the best view, I think.
Yeah, because I think it's
Yeah.
like 70% of the waterfalls is on the Brazil or the Argentina. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but you can get different views. So after going to Copacabana Beach, Rio for New Year's with my friends, I was like, sorry
Oh,
guys, we're
wow.
gonna leave this party scene and we're gonna go now to this waterfall that I've written about for the last however many years.
oh,
And they went along and they loved it. And I took my book and I got some promo pics with the
Oh,
waterfall and the
wow.
scene
That's
and me
so
describing
cool.
it. It was really bizarre because all of these I'm visiting and I'm looking back to my book to see if I've described it accurately through the drone videos that I watched and through all these
Mm.
YouTube clips. But yeah, largest waterfall system in the world.
Mm.
It's either that or Niagara Falls. And I thought, no, let's do South America.
Yeah.
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 So your trip that you've got coming up, is that for, I mean, it's fun, but also are you going to be like picking up like general
Absorbing.
ideas?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I think
You
with
just
this
can't help
series,
it.
yeah, I think with
yeah,
this series, where I've already written half of the fourth book, I think I'm kind of done with the global aspect, the that kind of thing. And I think with my next series, I'm thinking of doing it more high fantasy, or at least set out of this world, or maybe with a historical fantasy.
Mm.
So we're doing Southeast Asia, um, but I have just received an email last week asking me to visit a school in China, in Shanghai next year, to maybe do
Wow.
like
Oh,
author talks there. And
cool.
obviously I'd make sure that I go from Shanghai to the forest to see it as well. But no, with this trip, I think it's more going to be just traveling, exploring cultural richness.
Mm.
Um, obviously writing whilst there, but I wouldn't want to make the whole thing about me and my books because
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But I will be inspired, I'm sure, by many of the cultures that we experience and many of the people that we meet and the things that we see as well.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely want to visit. It's been one on my list for a very long time. And then the only place left for me to visit after that would be Kilimanjaro, Tanzania, which I'd love to do. I'd like to
Yeah,
do. I'd like to help out there with relief in some way.
yeah.
Um,
My auntie did the climb a few years ago.
all the way to the summit or to base camp, or
I can't remember. I'll have
I'd
to
like to
find
do.
out. She was, she enjoyed it, but she was kind of miserable. Like it was hard, really. I
Yeah,
think a lot harder than she had anticipated.
yeah, I'm
So I
not a
think,
climber
no,
by any stretch.
I'm not an exerciser. So that thought is just, yeah.
Yeah, maybe
But
I
she
might
did
make it
it.
to base camp and call it a day.
Yeah, yeah.
Can anybody hear screaming?
No.
No,
Is
okay,
that
that's fine.
is that at your house?
Oh, school's just finished, yeah.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and I can hear a lot of screaming, but if you can't, that's fine.
No.
I promise it's not just in my head.
I can't hear anything, don't worry.
Um, Do we need to move on to listener questions now?
Yeah.
Going
That's what I
really
was
fast,
just
isn't
about
it?
to do. I know it is going really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Andy, we have got some listener questions
Mhm.
for you. So, let me have a look.
So,
Oh, go on.
no, I was going to say, Amy asked, how did you come up with the Magic System books? So I think
I think we've
Yeah.
covered
done that
that quite
one.
well, that one,
Mhm.
Yeah,
haven't we?
definitely.
Yeah. Um,
So, we'll
did
move
I
on.
just spot
Oh,
that you have a mug with your, sorry, Andy, did I just spot that you
Yeah.
have a mug with your
oh,
characters on it?
Yeah, my brother's
Oh,
girlfriend to celebrate book one coming out did this one.
oh,
oh,
And then with the second book, she got me another one with the new character art because each book has an internal character art. So she got the second one done
mm,
as well. And then I hope that she does the third and fourth one.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, please
Yeah,
do.
again, free
yeah.
promo. Just getting it. You got to get it in. Either way.
Yeah. I know George has got our podcast mug there somewhere, haven't you?
I have,
Yeah.
Love it.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah,
You got to do it, haven't you?
Excellent mug, actually.
yeah, yeah, it
Hmm.
is. Good quality. Right, so we'll move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Holly asks, what is your least favorite trope?
So I it used to I'm gonna get absolutely battered for this, but it used to be the enemies to lovers trope. I used to
Right.
really,
Oh,
really I know it's so
Very
controversial.
popular, isn't
Um,
it?
hmm.
Yeah, it's exceptionally popular, especially in fantasy. It's almost a given in fantasy. But I didn't like it because it always felt like, why are you picking the bully? As someone who was
Yeah.
bullied, I was like, I'm not attracted to any of my bullies. I was going to swear, they're not nice people. So
Mm.
I didn't get that. Especially if it was very much like one was in a position of authority and one wasn't. I didn't really like that. But then I realized that I was obviously reading just not good enemies to lovers, or there wasn't on an equal balance or whatever. So now, not only do I like enemies to lovers, but I'd love to write an enemies to lovers story, but in the way that I think it should be written, as opposed to any kind of
Yeah. And
potentially harmful.
yeah, anything. I'm trying to think of the right word, like
I
Mhm.
get,
coercive.
yeah, I get what you're
Yes,
saying.
yeah,
Like, it's just, you're a bit like, really,
Yeah.
guys, are we still doing
yeah,
this? Is this the message that, he's
yeah.
only,
That's exactly what I was
the
thinking for
kid in
young
the
readers as
Yeah.
playground's
well.
only punching you because he likes you? Really?
Exactly. I
Exactly.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot of like kind of implicit misogyny as well, and I just didn't really like how that was being made to be accepted and
Mm.
tolerated and forgiven so easily. So I didn't used to like that. Now, what do I not like? I don't like it, and I see this in films and TV and books, particularly if it's like a psychological thriller, which are my favorite things to read and watch. When there's like just a magical slash ridiculous solution at the end of the book. So it all follows a really, really well executed thread of incredible breadcrumbing and foreshadowing. And in the
Mm.
last five chapters, it just goes a bit bizarre and a bit outlandish. I just feel like that can sometimes really take me away and take the reading experience. I love a plot
Hmm.
twist, but the plot twist
Mm.
has to look warranted, I think, upon a reread. And sometimes I read them and I'm like, that was literally them pulling at straws in the final third. So
Yeah.
that I don't know if there's a trope for that, but
No, but you feel a bit cheated. I know what you mean. You're
yeah,
Yeah.
just,
yeah,
this isn't where this was going at all.
yeah, that's exactly it. Otherwise, honestly, it depends on how it's written.
Mm.
Really depends on how it's
Yeah, that's
written.
true. I do have
I,
one
Yeah.
that I hate that I've seen a lot recently, and it's like demonic, horrible pregnancy stuff.
oh, yeah, we've been watching a lot of
I've
TV with
seen
that,
that.
haven't we?
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, just no.
Mm.
Yeah,
Thank you. Like,
That's it.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
yeah.
And because we've been watching Welcome to Derry. I don't, do you not enjoy horror, Andy? Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
raised on horror. Is that the new spin-off TV show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a map of Derry. Everyone's
Serious?
Oh,
like,
you
why have you
do?
got a map of Derry? And I'm like, it's Stephen King's Derry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
right.
Not Northern
yeah,
Ireland, Derry.
but there's a really,
Yeah.
and we talked about it the other day and said, we're sort of enjoying it. But the opening scene, there was a couple of scenes in it where you're just like, this is so unnecessarily jarring, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what bearing it had on the story. I still
No,
don't really know why we needed to see it. Like,
I
and you're
don't
like,
think it did.
no, and it's
I'm not
traumatic.
particularly religious, but I feel like there's a lot of satanic stuff which I don't know. Even though I'm not religious, I'm still just a bit like, oh, stay away from
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, and it's kind of just it's not explained. There's no
Yeah,
reason for it in the storyline. It's just there as a shock.
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that's my icky. I don't like.
I was reading, I've been getting into comics. I'm in my comic era, like I'm really new to
Okay.
this, and I'm reading a really excellent comic called Mary Sue. And I can't remember the name of the author, but I will tell Cynthia and obviously the art. Oh, I think she's artist and author actually. And
Mhm.
there was a bit at the back where they asked her about various things, and they asked her what her least favorite trope was, and she said sex pollen. And I was like,
What's
what's
that?
that? What's sex pollen? So, sorry, I've just realised my kids might be listening. Yeah, so and I looked it up, and it's like I thought I can't possibly have read anything or seen anything that has sex pollen in it, but it's when something comes over everybody and they all start getting all like
Okay.
and there was an episode of what's it called? What was the True Blood?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where it was one episode where everybody was just, you
Getting
know,
on it.
getting at it for no apparent reason, and there was this sort of being that was kind of controlling it all and getting all this energy from it, and you're like, I don't feel
Yeah.
like that's because again that's a bit like when we think more about you know non-consensual stuff
Yes.
and things. So I was
I
like, yes, so actually I
yeah.
don't like sex pollen either.
Yeah, that's made me also think of another one, and it's the romanticization of of abuse.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive dark romance reader, and I'm not like putting them down or anything, each to their own. I just personally find some dark romance is excusing some really, really weird fetishes that, as someone
Yeah.
who's worked with patients that are permanently
Mm.
affected by the consequences of these things, it's not something that I choose to read or engage in or want to
No,
write.
no.
Yeah. There's a line, isn't there?
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
that was
everyone's line is in a different place.
You,
yes.
yes,
That
exactly.
was a really good
But yeah.
question, actually.
Mm.
I'm worried that I've attributed that answer about sex pollen to the wrong author, so I just need to go back and check on that because
Right, okay.
she might be like, I never said that. I've never heard of sex pollen. Anyway,
Right.
stop saying sex pollen, Georgia.
Right.
Right. So next question, Prue. This is from Prue. She asks, "What is the best piece of writing advice you've ever received?"
This is going to be so generic, and I'm so sorry if they've heard it probably a billion times, but it is just keep going. It's so
Yeah.
easy in this day and age to find reasons, justifiable reasons to not write. And everyone's got different amounts of privilege that they allow them to write more or write less, but you will always find an excuse to not write if there is one. And it's just about finding the time wherever you can. I used to think I needed the perfect conditions. It needed to be after 11 p.m. I needs to have the music on, I needs to be in my bed, and everything has to be perfect. And if it wasn't, then I couldn't write. But then I realized that that was limiting the amount that I could write and that I should be writing anywhere where possible. So if that's, 10 minutes on the treadmill, or whether that's on the commute to and from work, or whether it's on a lunch break. Um, Obviously that's not always the case, but for me, I felt like I just need to get down and write it. And I think the biggest motivator for me was that my story m- mattered and it was
Mm,
going to help people, regardless of whether it just helped me, which it did. It was very, very self-healing, but I knew that it was going to help, hopefully, or intend to change people's lives. And I thought I can't do that if I've not written it. So I just need to get it down and keep writing because you can't edit a blank page. And that was
yeah,
the
that's
biggest thing
good
Yeah.
for me.
motivation.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Yeah, good answer.
What about
Um,
you guys?
uh, what the best
Same.
writing advice? Yeah.
Yeah. I think mine is it's not going to be a book if I don't do it.
Yes.
Mm,
If I don't finish it, if I don't do these edits, if I don't get this copy edit in, then
Yeah,
it's never going to be a book. I'll never hold it in my hands and people will
exactly.
never read it. And I'm the only person that can sort that out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah. I think, I don't know where I heard this, but I think sometimes it's okay to have a break as well because, like, whatever is happening, and sometimes writing is so weird, and I might have said this before, but it's like, it's like if you're a mechanic and you got to work one day and you're looking at this car engine, you're like, I don't know what this is. How do I don't even know what an engine is. What part does what? I can't remember any of it. But like it's with writing, like it's just crazy that that's your job, that sometimes you just can't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not working for you. So sometimes I think it is okay to have a break. You need that, and that's part of the journey sometimes.
Yeah. Especially
So
between drafts, I think.
oh yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And I think I think probably this is something I've picked up watching Cynthia writing all of her books and going through all the process, because I've had a big break, not a big break, not the good kind of big break, a big long break
Right.
between my first and my next book. But and we were talking about this on the last one. I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, but I can see what her process is, and I
Yeah.
can see
I
the same.
can't.
No, she can't, but I have to point out to her and say, this is part of your process. This is the part where you sit down, I can't do it, and nothing's working, and I'm never gonna. And I keep pointing out, right now this will happen next, and then you just have to. It will come. So it's really useful to be part of a writing community where you're watching and learning from other
Yeah.
people. So, and I think that's another thing. Sorry, I'll shut up in a minute, but. I think writing can be such a isolating thing.
Yeah.
It's quite an isolated thing to do. So the best thing you can do is surround yourself with people who kind of get it and know it.
Yeah.
And even if you're quite a shy person, you're quite introverted, just try and be that person who says, hey guys, should we set up a WhatsApp group? Or, do you fancy doing some sprints or what have you? And
Yeah.
just really try and find that little community support as early on as you can.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, writing communities are so powerful, I think, in helping you stay motivated and holding
Yeah.
you accountable as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely. And they understand in a way that other people don't. You
Yeah.
know, I tried to get published for 8 years before it happened. And people are supportive,
Hmm.
but people's eyes also slowly glaze over as you're talking to them about the book that you're writing that hasn't gone anywhere yet. And
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
even say like, oh, can I buy it? Well, no, because I have to do all of this. And nobody understands that like somebody else who's doing it
Yes.
or has done it. So
Yeah.
it is
Yeah, for sure.
important. Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Definitely. Okay. So, Andy, who are you reading at the moment?
I'm currently reading Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Um,
Oh,
Seen
a
that. You were
classic.
reading
yeah,
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I got to meet him last week and he's objectively a very cool dude. And I know his books have just been absolutely mega
Yeah.
successful. So I'm doing this thing where I'm reading a lot of best-selling authors in the space that I want to write in because I want to see what it is that they do. So I'm reading Fourth Wing, I'm reading
Mm.
A Court of Thorns and Roses, I'm reading all those kind of like big name ones. So yeah, currently reading Red Rising, currently reading Quicksilver by Callie Hart, currently reading Maura Buffini's Songlight and the sequel,
Oh, yeah.
which is so well written.
They won, well, one of them won the YA book
The
prize
first
this
one,
year,
yeah,
didn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Songlight did. There's a
And
few
she's
other books.
Irish. Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah.
I was on a panel with her. I shared a panel at Cheltenham. She's just lovely. And there's a couple other books, and I'm reading A Language of Dragons as well by S.F. Williamson. So I'm in the middle of so many books, but deadlines.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Excellent. So, what is next for you? What can you tell us about anyway that is next for you?
So I sent my synopsis of book 4 to my editor last week with the caveat that I'd already written 69,000 words of it
Oh, gosh.
By the
before it was
way,
approved. Hey, just to let you know, yeah. So I'm waiting to hear back from that, and hopefully that's approved. And she's not there like, no, this is rubbish. Let's change it. So that's going to be due in April, which is when book 3 comes out, because I always send them the next book when the other previous book is released.
Mhm.
And then I'm thinking about writing an adult romantasy that's inspired by the Orpheus and Eurydice retelling of the underworld and poetry and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I'm very, very, very excited. There's going to be lots of plot twists in that, and it's going to be spicy, and it's going to be high tension and high stakes and very philosophical. And it'd be nice to capture a new audience, hopefully, with that. So we're excited. My agent and I are excited to see what that looked like when I get it written and who picks it up and if they like it as well.
Yeah, sounds good. I've never heard philosophy and spicy in the same pitch.
Yeah,
So
we're
I think
very
you're onto something
multifaceted here.
new. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to find that niche market,
Yeah,
aren't I?
exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Those philosophers were all at it, weren't they? It's fine.
I was
They're
trying
all
to
getting
think
on
if
it,
you
yeah.
could make a portmanteau word out of spicy and philosophy. No, that
It's just the
probably
same.
wouldn't
That's the same
sell.
word, Georgia.
Falafel spice. Falafel spice sounds like a Turkish dish.
In phyllo pastry.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, so where can we find you online?
I am online with under the at Andy Darcy Theo. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I try and do YouTube Shorts, but I'm very unsuccessful at that. But primarily, Instagram and TikTok is where I do all my content. It's where people can access me and chat to me as well. And I've also got a website where people can sign up to my newsletter and sign up to my writing and publishing course that I'm teaching people in the spring as well. And that's
Oh,
just
Oh, cool.
oh,
andydarcytheo.com.
just
Yeah.
mention that off the,
I
you
know,
know,
just
I,
casually. Yeah.
I
yeah.
started it last month. I had 15 writers do it, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done in my
Oh,
life. It's
wow.
it's fantastic, and we do different workshops where I teach them about writing, plotting, editing, characterization, but also about demystifying the publishing experience, how to write a query letter, how to
Mm.
build an author brand, marketing as an author. Um,
Where do we sign up for
I
this
know.
course?
you guys are pros. You don't need any advice from me. But I'll share that when I do it, probably in the spring. When I do that again. But it went really well this last month, and I'm very excited to do it again.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
wow.
awesome.
That
So if
sounds
you
really
are writing, if you
Thank
are
you.
listening to this podcast because you want to be a writer, then keep an eye out for that in the spring.
Yeah. And it's at any stage of the writing journey, whether you've started writing, whether you're actively querying. I've got writers of the full range of the spectrum. But yeah,
Mm.
that's something I want to do again in the spring, and I'll share that on my Substack news, like on my Substack subscribers before I put it online, see if there's any spaces left.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Um,
Well, listen, thank you so much.
Thank you
yeah.
so much
That
for
was
having me.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been really lovely to talk to you and just talk like books. I know it's all about books, but how important
yeah.
the whole
Freely
thing
about
is.
books. Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been lovely.
No, thank you so much for inviting me on. I've really enjoyed it. I've been on death's door, bedbound, unwell
Oh,
the last week.
Oh
So
oh
no.
no.
this is like a really good pick me up to get me back in to motivate me to finish these copy
Oh,
edits. Yeah,
oh,
Oh,
well,
well, yeah.
anytime. You're welcome
good.
anytime.
Yeah. Good luck with the copy edits and
Thank you
Yes.
so
go and
much.
drink lots of Lemsip or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more green tea and ginger. Yeah.
Lovely.
Oh, thank you
Okay.
guys so much. Hope you have a
Thanks,
lovely
Andy.
Christmas and
Cheers.
New Year's.
Bye.
And
Bye.
you. Happy Christmas.
Bye. Merry
Bye.
Bye
Christmas.
bye.
Bye.